And hello, everyone. We are live in our 99th Aini Living Conversation, living in reciprocity, living in harmony with Mother Earth, and in that quest to invite other folks to join us to be in this life of reciprocity. And I'm with Sacred Blue Heron Woman, our main sensei of the Owl Dojo. I am Julian Catari from Jalapa, Veracruz, and we are talking today about the 13 meridians. That's the topic of today. I normally know about I have a very high reverence towards the number 13 from the Mesoamerican cultures that I practice, where 13 is seen as a very sacred, if not the most sacred number. And it's kind of funny because for the Western world, number 13 is normally associated with bad luck,
Yeah,
or
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so that's what I can share for now, because I really don't know what Sacred Blue Heron Woman has for us tonight. So what do you have
Well,
for us?
it's the
How are you doing?
the 13 is one of the numbers on the golden spiral, so it is a very potent number. So, well, the meridians are the heavenly streams, the heavenly and earthly streams that constitute us. So the organ energy or orgasmic potential, Reiki or Chi, that flows through us is the bond that connects our physical body to the powers of heaven, the Tao. And the heavenly streams of the meridian system carry the energetic information from heaven down into our body and from earth up into our body through the meridians, through the streams. The streams or meridians work together as one harmonious system to circulate information around the body and maintain its various functions. Without this system, we would be nothing but a lifeless husk. So a cyclical flow of Qi, and I'm just going to use the word Qi rather than knowing that it means the same thing as Reiki, organ energy, right? A cyclical flow of Qi is maintained by the connection of the meridians of the hand and foot, yin and yang, exterior and interior. So running like a superhighway of information throughout the body, the meridian system governs the vital functions of the organs and systems of the body at the same time as enabling living creatures to communicate energetically with the powers of heaven and earth. It's through the meridian system that our inner consciousness communicates with the physical world, forming the mind-body link. The meridian system connects our inner universe to the outer universe in which we live. Qi from the outside moves in towards our core, and at the same time, our energy body shifts Qi from our inside to the outside of our body. In this way, our energy system breathes Qi in the same way that our lungs breathe air. So Qi takes the form of a vibrational wave, which we can feel moving in our body. The wave carries information through our bodies in a similar way to a binary code, providing information for computer systems. In fact, computer systems were designed on this, on our makeup. So the wave comprises peaks and troughs of yin-yang energy. The various combinations of yin-yang waves, peaks, and troughs create different bundles of information, which in turn lead to various energetic movements. So the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching result from all the various ways yin and yang come together in their peaks and troughs, and that correlates to our DNA. That's the information that gives the recipes for our DNA. Our Qi reacts with the energy of the environment, other people, and our own consciousness, which is constantly sending information from our mind into our energy systems. The meridians affect every organ and physiological system, and each system is fed by at least one meridian. So below the meridians is what's called a Jing-Jin system. This is the layer of the muscles, connective tissue, and fascia, which act as kind of a riverbed for the chi of the meridian system. It can also be translated as the tendon pathways. So we have the invisible meridians that are encased in the tendon pathways or flow in the tendon pathways. Along the meridians and the Jing-Jin system are acupoints or gates through which we can access the chi flow of the meridians. The Chinese character for the acupoints means cave or hole. So the acupoints are sites into which chi and blood are infused. They are also the loci of response to dis-ease. There are 5 transporting points that are located below the elbow or knee on each of the channels. Their Chinese and English names largely reflect an analogy that likens the nature of qi at these points to the flow of water from its source in the mountains to its home in the sea. There are also what are called well-jing points because the nature of qi at these points is said to be small and still, like the water in a well. Then there are spring yin points, the yin meaning the dashing of waves or the rising of the spring waters out of the earth as the freeze is over. So the nature of the energy at these points is like that. There are stream shu points. The qi at these points is said to resemble water pouring downward as from a shallow place to a deeper one. And these are at the wrist and ankle, going from the shallow to the deep flesh of the forearm or the calf. And then there's river jing points. The nature of the qi here is like a flowing river. There are uniting points that represent the nature of the qi as it enters deeply into the body and unites with the organ to which the channel relates. And then there's source or yuan points, which is where the qi originates for that meridian, that stream. So we're going to start with the lung meridian. It's called the central treasury. It originates within the physical organ of the lungs. An internal branch descends through the diaphragm to enwrap the large intestines, which are elementally linked with the lung meridian. And a second branch ascends up through the throat, where it turns and runs along the collarbone here, and down the outside of the arm to end at it actually comes down like this and it ends at the thumb.
So this would be the acupuncture meridians as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lung meridian is the main pathway through which the elemental energy of metal travels. And the lungs Jing-Jin, its riverbed, originates at the thumb and comes up the inside of the arm and covers the whole pec area. That's the tendon pathway. So then the points, there's and we're going to go through the points because these are interesting what they originally named. There's 11 points, acupoints on the lung meridian. So lung 1 is called the central treasury, storehouse or mansion. It's an intersection point of the lung and spleen meridians, and its name reflects the lung's relationship to the spleen and stomach as a treasury center. It's above the breast and the third intercostal space. Now, if you find, which means the space between the ribs, so if you start at the collarbone and come down to the third space, you're going to find pretty much directly above the nipple, you're going to find that point, and chances are it's going to be really sore because these acupoints get clogged. So it's like right in there, and mine is very sore. Lung 2 is called the cloud gate because the lungs distribute fluids throughout the body, and it is the origin of the qi cycle, and they're linked to clouds. They look like, so the name reflects, and the clouds give rain and nourishment to the earth. So this is the point where the qi cycle of this channel begins, going through the 13 channels until it reaches a point on the liver channel where the cycle begins anew. And it's called a gate because it's an entry point. the name cloud gate implies a relationship with the chi of the earth. Earth's chi ascends as clouds, and heaven's chi descends as rain. So this point, lung 2, is right about here, right below your collar, higher. It's right below the collarbone, and you can feel it. And again, it's, if you palpate, feel for it, you're going to find a sore spot, because they're also neurotoxin collecting points. Energy, all kinds of, so that's what acupuncture does, is it helps clear them out. So lung 3 is called the celestial storehouse because it's the gathering place of celestial chi. The lungs are the celestial storehouse. Ancient wisdom said that from the waist up, the energy, the chi, is celestial, and from the waist down, it's earthly. This analogy applies not only to position, but also to function, because the lungs receive chi from the earth and nourish the body, just as a storehouse receives produce from the land and nourishes people. The Chinese character that is used for this is an ancient expression for the breasts, where milk is stored, right? So the point is located on the arm, on your upper arm, right at the level of the breast. And then lung 4 is called the guarding or pinching white, because white is the color associated with metal and is often used to represent the lungs. So the point name conveys a sense of protecting the lungs and reminding us that it is on the lung channel. And this point is right below the celestial storehouse point. And then lung 5 is called the cubit marsh, or ghost entrance, or ghost hall. So each transporting point, this is a transporting point, has a 5-phase correspondence, which the 5 phases are the 5 elements, the 5 seasons, right? So the name marsh means it's a water point. And the point is located in a depression, a cubit away from the pulse of the hand. A cubit is a Chinese form of measurement. So the name gives us the location and the 5-phase relationship, and it's in the elbow crease, closest to the elbow inner side. Lung 6 is called the collection hole. It's located in a fissure-like depression. And the Chinese character for this refers to the depth and the point's ability to collect chi and blood. It's right below the cubit marsh in the depression between the 2 bones. So if you felt between your radius and ulna, that's where lung 6 is located, right below the elbow crease. And then lung 7 is called broken sequence, or child mystery, or wrist taxation. And this is where the lung channel splits to join the large intestine channel. And an ancient Chinese person described this as a heavenly star point, and like thunder spitting, a thunderhead spitting fire. The point can be located by interlocking the 2 fingers, the thumb and index finger, which are called the tiger's mouths. This whole space is called the tiger's mouth, so that you interlock, and where your finger then touches the wrist, that's where lung 7 is. Then lung 8 is called the channel ditch. It's a river jing, or metal point. Chi and blood at the river jing points move and do not dwell. So the chi flows unceasingly here, and it's located in the depression at the pulse. And then lung 9 is called the great abyss, or ghost heart, or great spring. And it's a meeting point of the vessels, a streaming earth point and a source point for the lungs. The chi here is plentiful and deep, like an abyss. It's located at the pulsating vessel at the inner extremity of the crease behind the hand. And then number 10 is called the fish border. They're all interesting names. The fleshy portion of the hand, right here, where the point is located reminded the Chinese of the belly of a fish. And the border refers to the border of red and white flesh, which would be yin and yang flesh. It's behind the base point of the thumb in the depression. So right down here on the hand, on the palm. And then lung 11 is called the lesser shang, or ghost sincerity, and it's a wood point. And this is the second of 13 ghost points, and I have yet to discover what the thing of ghost points is. So shang is also the fifth note of the Chinese musical scale. So the shang sound is related to metal, and so lung 11 is located on a yin channel, so it's the lesser, because the 5 sounds are divided into greater and lesser aspects. And it's located on the inside of the thumb, right there at the nail. So then the partner to the lung meridian is the large intestine meridian, and it originates at the index finger and travels up the arm to run on top of the collarbone, up the neck to the cheek, and ends at the nostril. It rules elimination and communicates with the lungs to regulate the transportation functions of the body. This meridian underlies diseases that affect the head, face, and throat. And its Jing-Jin, or its riverbed, originates to encompass both the forefinger and the thumb, and runs up, coming up here across the neck and out the outside of the face. It covers the whole outside of the face.
Mm-hmm.
There are 13 points on this one. Oh, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 20 points on the large intestine. So,
Wow.
lung, large intestine 1 is called shang yang, or extreme yang, and it's a well jing, a metal point. It's the metal point of this yang metal channel, and it's located on the inside of the index finger, right there at the corner of the nail.
Okay.
The second, large intestine 2 is called the second space, or space valley, or whole valley, and it's a spring yin water point. And the second space refers to the depression on the base joint of the inner side. It's right there, right between the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
The third is called the third space, the lesser valley or small valley. Then this is a wood point. It's the depression closest to the head of the second finger bone on the index finger. So it's somewhere, somewhere there. Yeah. The fourth is called Union Valley, or Tiger's Mouth. I'm going to take a walk to get my phone cord because I'm down to 15% battery. Tiger's Mouth, or holding mouth. This is the source point, the command point of the face and mouth. This point is found in a valley-like depression where the index finger and thumb bones part. So it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese word for valley and bones is homophonic, and the name is a poetic mnemonic device. It's also the name of a mountain, because the flesh that protrudes when you put your thumb together with your index finger kind of looks like a mountain. And the tiger's mouth is a reference of the ability of the thumb and forefinger to join and make a big, wide tiger's mouth. So let me take a break here and grab my charging cord.
Okay. That happens.
Yeah, I really got into these points. I have a book called Grasping the Wind, which explains the original names of all the points. There's a lot of people that have given the points different names, but I really got excited. That's why I'm sharing them all, because some of them are very descriptive and give a whole new way to look at your body. like this being the tiger's mouth, right? So there we go. Now we won't run out of battery. Okay, so large intestine 5 is called the Yang Ravine or Central Eminence, and it's a fire point. It's a reference to the location on the yang aspect of the hand between the two tendons on the upper face of the wrist. So right here, in between these two tendons, is a point. And then large intestine 6 is called Bering passageway. It's the connecting point of the lung and large intestine channels. It's 3 inches behind the wrist of the arm. Large intestine 7 is called warm dwelling or snakehead, pool's head, or counterflow pouring. The point is said to have copious chi, so hence the name warm dwelling. And snakehead is a reference to the point's location because the muscle parts resemble a snake's head when a fist is made. So it's on the inside of the arm. I haven't seen the snake's head yet. But large intestine 8 is called the lower ridge. It's located on the forearm, 4 inches below the elbow. Large intestine 9 is called the upper ridge. It's right above the number 8. Large intestine 10 is arms 3 Li or ghost evil. It derives its name from its location, which is 3 inches below the prominent bone of the elbow. And then large intestine 11 is called pool at the bend, yang, marsh, or ghost minister. This is a uniting point. It's an earth point, and it's the 12th of 13 ghost points. It's found at the crook of the elbow in a depression that resembles a shallow pool. It could also be the description of the chi as it pours into the uniting point. It's again located at the crook of the elbow, so the pool at the bend. And when the hand is placed on the chest, the pool is in the depression of the elbow crease on the outside of the elbow. Large intestine 12 is the elbow bone hole or elbow tip, and it's in a bony depression 1 body inch above the elbow. And then large intestine 13 is the great prohibition or arm 5 Li. And the character for Li, by extension of its original meaning, is a city district and has also come to mean to reside. And this point resides at a pulse about 5 body inches above the elbow. Classical Chinese texts often make reference to the 5 positions, which would be east, west, south, north, and center. And so the number 5 is associated with the center. And needling of this point is forbidden, as it damages the chi of the 5 viscera, the 5 organs. So large intestine 14 is upper arm head surge or neck surge. This is an intersection of the small intestine channel, the large intestine, and the bladder channels. It's about 4 inches above 5 Li in the depression between the tendons and bones, and is felt when you raise your arm. So it's in here somewhere. Large intestine 16 is called great bone. It's locational in nature, referring to the obvious prominence of the articulation of the clavicle, the collarbone, and the scapula. And it's in a depression between the two. So it's like right up here. And then large intestine 17 is called celestial tripod or celestial summit, because the character is a pictograph representation of an ancient Chinese sacrifice cooking vessel. that had two ear-like extensions for handles and was supported on a stand with 3 legs. So it serves as a metaphor for the neck, which supports the head, just as a tripod supports the vessel. So it brings to mind both the location and function of the point, which is at the base of the neck, right in here. Large intestine 18 is called the protuberance assistant, or water hole. Coming up from the celestial tripod, it's 1 inch below the corner of the jaw and is lateral to the Adam's apple, the laryngeal prominence. So a further explanation is found in the fact that the width of 4 fingers is equal to 3 body inches. So it's 3 body inches lateral to the larynx, the voice box. And then large intestine 19 is called grain bone hole, or long neck, long creek, long shore, or long teak. And it's located below the lateral edge of the nostril. Palpation would reveal a depression about the size of a grain of rice, hence called the grain hole. Since rice is the grain associated with the metal phase, it could also be known as the rice bone hole. And large intestine 20 is called welcome fragrance, or surging yang. This point has the function of opening nasal passages, allowing one to welcome in fragrance. Fragrance is the aroma associated with the earth phase, and so the point name serves to demonstrate that large intestine 20 is where the stomach channel, an earth channel, intersects with the large intestine channel. So it's 1 body inch up from and to the side of the nostril. So it's somewhere out in here. And I'm going to get charts of these points so I know better where they're at, because sometimes the description is like, where? So now we go to the stomach meridian, and the stomach meridian has 40 points on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the stomach meridian emerges from the end of the large intestine meridian, just under the eyes, traveling down the lower jaw, the neck, to the sternum here, where it divides into 2 branches. Each branch passes down the chest, belly, and groin, and then down the inside of the leg to end at the tip of the 2nd toe. It's the yang meridian that conveys the earth elemental energy around the body. It works very closely with the spleen meridian to perform digestion and absorption. And the stomach meridian assures that the qi descends or is passed into the internal system. So its tendon bed, its riverbed that it lies in, starts at the 2nd and 3rd toes, comes up the front of the leg all the way up. So stomach 1 is called tear container, or face bone hole, brimming tears, mouse hole, or raven hole. It's in the depression right below the eye, right below the pupil, right there. That's the first one. Stomach 2 is called the 4 whites, or grain gate, because the 4 white areas of the eye are located above, below, to the sides of the pupil. It's just a little bit below ST1. And then stomach 3 is called the great bone hole because it's found in the largest bone hole in the cheek. So it's right here. Stomach 4 is called the earth granary, ghost bed, or linking confluence, and it is at the intersection point of the stomach and large intestine channels. So the Chinese divided the face into 3 sections, and I think you talked about this with the Indians too. The area above the nose is heaven, the nose is man, and the area below the earth is below man is the earth, or the underworld. So stomach 4 is located next to the mouth, and so it's called the granary because, like a granary, it receives the 5 grains, or food, the earthly manifestation of qi. It's below ST3, which we're right underneath the middle of the eye. So it's right out about here. And stomach 5 is called the Great Reception, or marrow hole. It's possibly called the Great Reception because it's proximal to the intersection of the large intestine and stomach channels, and it's also at a branching point of the stomach channel. It can be thought of as the point where the stomach channel receives or welcomes the large intestine channel, and it's located right here.
Mm-hmm.
1 inch from the corner of the jaw there. And then stomach 6 is called jawbone, tooth bend, ghost bed, or ghost forest. It's so, I'll give you 3 guesses as to where that one is located. The name kind of tells you. Right there. At the bend of the jaw. Stomach 7 is an intersection point for the stomach and gallbladder channels. And it derives its name from its location below the joint of the mandible. It's also located just below the zygomatic arch. This is the zygomatic arch, in a hollow felt when the mouth is closed. And the hollow disappears when the mouth is open. So it's somewhere in here. Stomach 8 is head corner, or forehead large. It's another intersectional point of the stomach and gallbladder channels. And the character for the corner's original or origin means that was that of a net, or to bind or tie. And it's also a reference to where a crown or other headwear would touch or be bound to the head. So it's at the corner of the hairline, inside the hairline. And stomach 9 is called man's prognosis, or fivefold confluence, or celestial fivefold confluence. The name stresses the point's function of receiving the chi for the 5 viscera, the 5 main organs. Another association comes from the expression to receive the days and predict events. Its location is at the major pulsating vessel of the neck, 1 inch to the side of the Adam's apple. So where you feel for your pulse. Stomach 10 is called water prominence, or water gate, or water heaven. And the pulsation of the carotid artery at this point resembles a gentle splash of water. So the point name reflects the feel of the point when palpated. When liquids are swallowed, this point protrudes. So it's in front of this major tendon of the neck, where you feel the carotid artery. And stomach 11 is called the chi abode. Breath passes by this area, so the rendering of the name chi abode brings to mind the point's location beside the trachea. The function of this point, along with points 16 through 18, are associated with their location in relation to the chest and the lungs, because the metaphor the Chinese had is that the chest is a house. The house has a window, a roof, a door, and a storeroom. So stomach 11 is the abode itself, and it's found directly below stomach 9 in the depression. So it's in the neck. Stomach 12 is called the empty basin, or celestial cover. Traditionally, the clavicle, the collarbone, was called the basin bone, and the space above the clavicle right in here was called the empty basin, because that's what it looks like. So this is where that point is. And then stomach 13 is called the chi door. It's located at the upper portion of the lungs, because celestial chi and the breath must pass down through this point in order to reach the lungs. So it's as if this is a door. It is right below the collarbone, the clavicle, right about midpoint, right there. Stomach 14 is called the storeroom. The chest can be seen to have the shape of a room, and it stores the heart and the lungs. So another perspective of this comes from the Chinese word for breast, which is also translated as milk room. Both the point name and the word for breast contain the same character, so it's located above the breast. Stomach 15 is called the roof. The position of the lungs as the uppermost of the organs likens them to a roof. So the name of the point is illustrative of its relationship to the lungs, both in location and function. And the female breast rises at this point, like the slanting roof of the house. So it's 1 inch below stomach 14, right where the female breasts start. Stomach 16 is called the breast window because qi and breast milk pass through into the breast through this point as light and air pass through a window. It's 1 inch below stomach 15. Stomach 17 is called the breast center. It's directly on the nipple. Stomach 18 is called the breast root or hemp breathing. They didn't explain where hemp breathing comes from, but it's located beneath the breast at the root of the breast. And stomach 19 is called not contained. So once the channel we're almost at the edge of the rib cage here. So once the stomach channel runs into the abdomen, the names now reflect the point's location near their stomach and their functions in relation to the organ. So it's the first point on the stomach channel after it leaves the chest cavity, the thorax. So it's not contained by the rib cage anymore, hence the name not contained. So plus if you overeat, you fill your stomach to that point, it fills up to, right, so now you can't contain any more food, right? So this point is right at the bottom of the xiphoid process and 2 finger widths lateral. So it's like right here. Stomach 20 is called assuming fullness, to take responsibility for, to receive and to support. So this point is located, all these points are now just going to go down 1 inch right beside, all the way down beside the navel. So stomach 21 is called beam gate. It's the level at which grain enters the stomach. Stomach 22 is called the pass gate. Digesta passes through this area on its way to the large intestines. Stomach 23 is called supreme unity. And its name relates to its location and function of it in regard to the bowel, as the one thing splits to become heaven and earth. So the turbid and the clear are divided here. Stomach 24 is called the slippery flesh gate or celestial manager. It's located near the opening of the small intestine, which is a gate of slippery flesh. Stomach 25 is called the celestial pivot or long grain, valley gate or cycle border or origin supplementer. The area above this pivot is ruled by celestial chi, and the area below is ruled by earthly chi. So this is the place where these 2 energies intersect and is the origin of man's chi, our personal chi, and the 10,000 things we create. It also refers to the point's location in the center of the body, and it's also the name of the central star of the Northern Dipper that has 6 other stars rotating around it. Stomach 26 is called the outer mound, and the Chinese traditionally buried their dead in mounds that are often seen on hillsides. Also, the bulges of the rectus abdominal muscle, that big muscle that runs right down through here that we love to try to make 6-packs out of, right? Those are mounds. Okay. So it's located on one of those mounds. Stomach 27 is called great gigantic or humor gate at the spring or armpit gate. So this point's function is to free or unblock the intestines. Stomach 28 is called waterway. And the 3 organs most intimately connected with water metabolism are the bladder, kidney, and triple burner channel. So stomach 28 clears damp heat from the lower burner. Stomach 29 is called return ravine hole or ravine valley. So a branch of the stomach channel diverges from the main at stomach 12 and passes down through the channel and rejoins the main channel. So it's 2 inches below stomach 28. And then stomach 30 is called surging chi or sheep's droppings. The sheep droppings name came from the lumps. It's in the inguinal region. So the term sheep droppings came from the ability to feel the lymph nodes in the inguinal region.
Oh, wow.
Stomach 31 is called the thigh joint. This point says it's just where it is. It's in the crease behind the crouching rabbit. What is the crouching rabbit? It's the rise of flesh in the center of the thigh.
Okay, well, is that what I'm thinking?
So, where I think stomach 31 is right in the middle of the thigh then. Or be in the crease, in the inguinal crease. So stomach 32 is called crouching rabbit or outer hill. It is at the prominence of the flesh, 6 inches above the knee. So this is where that quad muscle bulges to look like what they say a crouching rabbit. This point derives its name from its location in the prominence of the thigh muscle, which is said to resemble a crouching rabbit. An alternate name, hidden rabbit, is justified because when the knee is bent, the rise in the muscle disappears like a rabbit in hiding. And it kind of makes sense to call it a crouching rabbit because that gives you the ability to spring when you're squatter, right? That muscle. It's kind of cool. So stomach 33 is called yin market or yin tripod. This is the point where chi and blood are gathered and dispersed like goods at the marketplace. It's 3 inches above the knee in the depression below the crouching rabbit. Yeah, so from doing Shaolin training, my crouching rabbits are very sore.
I used to have good crouching rabbits. Mountain climbing and skiing.
That would do it. Yeah. For sure. Stomach 34 is called beam hill. It's at the cleft point of the stomach channel. It's located 2 body inches above the border of the kneecap or patella. There's a rise in the muscles at this point that resembles a small mound, so it's called beam hill. The leg must be straight and the leg and the muscle flexed to see the hill. And cleft points are where the channel chi gathers. Stomach 35 is called the calf's nose because the kneecap and tendon just below the kneecap resemble a calf's nose when viewed from the front. So it's located just below the kneecap in the depression lateral to the sinew that looks like a calf's nose. I never knew my knees looked like calf's nose. Now
that you say it, they do.
Yeah, there's a faint resemblance. Stomach 36 is called leg 3 li, and this is an important point. It's also a longevity point. It's also called lower hollow 3 li, ghost evil, lower sea of chi. And this is a uniting point. It's an earth point, and it's the command point of the abdomen. As oral tradition had it, when the primary means of travel was on foot, stimulation of this point was thought to relieve fatigue sufficient to allow one to journey another 3 li. So it's felt, you put your fingertips, your 4 fingers at the base of the lower kneecap, and it's right where your little finger lands. So that's good. That's a very good acupoint to massage a lot. Stomach 38 is called the ribbon opening, as the chi flows from the upper great hollow to the lower great hollow. Sorry, I skipped one. Stomach 37 is called the upper great hollow. It's the lower uniting earth point of the large intestine. This name refers to the point's location in a hollow of the shin. It's called the upper great hollow because it's the upper part of the hollow. It's 3 inches below stomach 36 and is found with the leg raised. So then stomach 38 is the ribbon opening. As chi flows from the upper great hollow to the lower hollow, it must go through a narrow passage, which is the ribbon opening. And we can also imagine that both the large and the small intestines are like ribbons. So it's located between the lower uniting points of the small and large intestine, so therefore like the opening between the two long bowels. And it's located 2 inches below stomach 37. So we're going down the shin now, right beside the middle, right off, a little bit off center. Stomach 39 is called the lower great hollow, and it is the lower uniting earth point, and it's 1 inch below the ribbon opening. Stomach 40 is called the bountiful bulge. I was wrong. There's 45 points on this stomach channel. Stomach 40 is called the bountiful bulge. It's the connecting point of the stomach and the spleen channel. It's located at the belly of the calf muscle, so the bountiful bulge. As a connecting point, it is well endowed with an abundance of earth chi, and it lies upward and outward from stomach 39, so it's 8 inches above the ankle bone in a depression on the outer face of the lower leg bone. So it's not on the back side of the calf muscle, it's on the belly where it bulges out to the side. Stomach 41 is called ravine divide or shoelace. It's a river jing, fire point. It's located in a small cleft in the center of the ankle. The name reminds us that it's located in a gorge or ravine that divides the lateral and medial, the inner and outer aspects of the ankle, and separates the shin bone from the foot. This point can untie any blockages in the area, so it's called the shoelace. So follow. If you put your hand on your foot, find the depression at the base of the big toe, that hollow between the big toe and the second toe, follow that up all the way to the crease of the ankle. That's where stomach 41 is.
Okay.
Stomach 42 is called the surging yang or meeting source or unrestrained yang. And it is the source point of the stomach channel. And its name reminds us of the pulse at this point that dashes against the hand when palpated. It's at a depression at the high point of the instep where a pulse can be felt. And then stomach 43 is called sunken valley. It's a water point. It refers to the concavity in which the point is located. It's in the outer aspect of the space between the large and second toe. Stomach 44 is called inner court. It lies between the toes, and it's a spring water point, just as a courtyard lies between the rooms of the house. It's on the outer side of the second toe in the depression in front of the base joint. And then stomach 45 is called severe mouth. It's a metal point. It's the point where chi flows into the spleen channel, and the opening of the spleen channel is the mouth. It's also located on a part of the foot that is instrumental in rapid walking. It's on the outer side of the end of the second toe at the corner of the nail. I did not know the corner of my second toenail was very instrumental in rapid walking, but it is. So we're going to stop there tonight. That was a lot.
That's a whole library of information.
Yeah.
So how many meridians are we covering so far?
We covered 3.
3. So the third one is the
third one is the stomach.
Third one's the stomach, second one's the intestine, first one's lung.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a whole other 10 coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so we'll
I guess it's going to take us
meridian next week.
That's going to take us more than 2 more sessions, I think.
Yeah, at least 2 more sessions, if not 3.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's
you
a
can,
whole.
if you want to change the name from the meridians to the heavenly and earthly streams, you can do that.
Okay, that would be a nice name to because it's. I mean, I love having the same thing, but given different names, and
Yeah,
I'll just give it. I'll just call it that for the next session.
yeah, sounds
I'll do
good.
that. Alrighty, so well, there you have it, folks. We are 3 meridians along in the 13 meridians. Trying to share with you a whole bunch of information from ancient Taoist, Chinese wisdom, and how it can be applied to a living in Tao, in the in the balance, in the ways of nature, in the ways of reality. I like to speak of reality and think and say
Yeah,
we've been hijacked from reality, and all we're trying to do here is come back to the real world.
yeah, yeah,
The
the natural world. So,
natural. Yeah.
Donna Eden, a lady named Donna Eden, she does energy medicine, and she talks about how if we could develop a routine to flush our meridians every morning, it takes only 2 minutes once you get the path of the meridians down. Flushing them means running it backwards and then running it forward. So like the lung originates, it originates in the lungs. So if you back flushed it, you would start here, flush it up into the lungs and then flush it out. And that we would do a lot for our health, and that's why I added the points and was like, so anyone that's dealing with constipation, if you just start massaging all the acupoints alongside, remember there's a whole string of them up your belly, along 2 inches out from the navel, and just start at massaging those every day. Your constipation is gone.
Okay, maybe you can show us at some point later on.
Yeah, it's just, you can either just press in, or you just massage, or you tap. Or another thing the Chinese have you do is do circles with your palms around your abdomen, and that also relieves, because that gets all those meridian points.
My mom is lately a lot into, I don't know the English name, moxibustion. It's like fire.
Yeah, moxibustion. My acupuncturist does that.
So my mom's been really into that lately, and does it to my daughter, and does it to herself, and so all the time carrying the powder with her.
That's cool. How does she? Because my acupuncturist puts it on the end of the acupuncture needle. It's the weirdest sensation to feel that needle getting hot.
Well, she learned from her boyfriend, and well, there's this powder that has it's like a dried herb thing.
Yeah.
And she'll put a little. It's kind of sticky, so you can make a kind of like a mound or a pyramid of it, and you light that on fire, and it just burns. And she says you gotta let it, you gotta feel it, even if it burns a little bit. Don't worry, just let it burn.
Huh.
So that's how she does it. She puts that on the point she wants to stimulate, and
Right.
burns it.
That's interesting. I'll have to talk in 2 weeks when I see my acupuncturist again. I'll have to ask her where she gets that.
And I've seen that technique of the powder, and I've seen this other thing, which is kind of like a rod that you light on fire, and that you put that close to the point. That's like another way.
Huh, yeah. Anything you can use to stimulate those points is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
especially
it's really
the ones that are sore to touch, because they're full of crap.
Okay. Yeah, I healed myself a long time ago from how do you call it, like heartburn or something, with an acupuncturist. And yeah, I remember having one of the points really hurt when he put a needle in it. It's like, wow, that's bad.
Yeah, some of them are really intense. This this morning she got one on me that was like, it was right here on my back. And it's where, in doing the Shaolin training, one of the stretches is you pull your neck forward, and she put that needle right where I can feel, when I do that stretch, right where I can feel the, like it's bound there. And I have felt for a long time like I have a big piece of wood sitting back there. So it wasn't surprising that it was pretty intense when she put the needle in there this morning.
Wow. So I hope this is useful for people, and please let us know any comments, anything you wish to share, and we'll be seeing you next week, same time, same channels. And with that, I'll cut the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you soon.